Up, everybody? This is take two. I am Vashawn Jones, visionary of Fedora Outlier LLC, and I'm excited to bring to you guys. And man, you wouldn't imagine how many times we tried to get a good interview with this particular gentleman right here. And it's crazy because the dude is like an innovator, like a modern day innovator with just the simple things that he does and the attention to detail that he pays and the way he envisions changing lives all around the world with what he does and getting into what he does. Well, I let him tell you. You all put your virtual hands together for Mr. Byron Harton. How you doing, sir?
Hey man, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Y'all hear that, man? Just the audio quality. Just hey, man. Thanks a lot. I'm just happy to be here, man. I'm telling you, this dude excites me. And Byron, tell him a little bit about what you do and why you do it.
Um, well, specifically, the IC Music, which is the company that that we started back in 2013, is a service-based uh, organization that um, deals with the diversity and inclusion in the audio industry as it pertains to blind individuals seeking to obviously be, operatives in the audio industry at any level. Um, and so basically that wraps up into our program that we have for the blind, which is it's an audio production training that deals specifically with um, adaptive technology and as it pertains to conventional technology in that industry. And so yeah, it's pretty much kind of where it is in a very very brief gist.
Got you. And so, what does that mean for the average consumer? They would come to you to do a variety of things I know, but what are some of the things in the industry that you teach that gives them the skills to be able to take into the real world?
Um, basically, okay, so individual comes to us. They're called learners once they enroll into our program. And the program basically uh, fills their vocational or educational needs or goals. And so that happens for individuals anywhere from the ages of 14 up to 65 years old or beyond. It is, we don't turn anyone away uh, unless it just doesn't make sense. But getting back to the question,
Right.
um, yeah, so pretty much what happens is we train individuals based on, like I said before, their vocational educational goals. And so what that means for us is person comes to us, and this is just a parallel example, and they want to venture down the road of being a recording engineer. Well, we teach them like I said before, the conventional technology, um, and we teach them how to navigate that. And so obviously navigating that as a blind person is really the assistive tech or the adaptive tech piece of it. Um, you know, the interesting thing is that um, the training is built to be in a resourceful manner, or what we deliver resourceful uh, trainings. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Hmm.
And so what that means is we're not teaching people our learners to be button pushers and key stroke memorizers, but we're teaching them how to be able to be problem solvers. And first and foremost is to take this thing and go and make a living in this particular field. So I know these are very brief answers because I'm telling you I could go for about 100 minutes, but we'll get a little bit further into that a little bit later.
Got you. And so it's great careers, especially now that the music industry is changing. You can do a lot of the stuff that you used to have to pay, literally thousands and thousands of dollars in a studio to do. you can do pretty much from your home. The advent of podcasting and to be able to record the voice and come out with your own shows, and just like what we're doing now, you're all the way in Illinois, I'm here in Georgia, and we're able to
Yeah,
stream live right here as if it's a TV show. They can see you, they can see me. So
yeah,
it's probably more now important for individuals to get those skills to create their own content than ever before. Do you see that boom and that
yeah.
transition in the
I
industry?
mean, 1000%. Um, one of the things is technology brings about competition, innovation, which you mentioned earlier, and in ease, efficiency. You know what I mean? And so for the blind community, it's very, very important. Uh, a lot of a lot of the rehab training that exists, it's a lot of times it's regionally bound, and what that means is that a blind individual would have to go and be in a metropolitan or go be physically at a um, at any kind of work environment or a brick and mortar that exists in order to make a living. Well, you know, and I'm not saying this, to say that we don't need mobility, but if you're able to work your home like you are this particular um, with this particular technology and training in this industry, period, point blank, um, it, it starts to cut down on quite a bit. Traveling as a blind person is expensive. You got to employ drivers, you got to do Uber, you got guide dogs, you got canes, you got mobility lessons, you got all those types of things. So economically speaking, this thing makes sense.
Excellent. And so here at Fedora, we offer the audio performance series, which is definitely online based teaching on the basics of audio production. But I know, coming to Illinois and going to IC Music, that you offer a heck of a lot more. What's the experience like for the person, one, coming to your facility? What's there? What do they get? And then you also offer virtual classes as well. So what's kind of the difference? What's the right fit for a particular consumer based on whether they take it online or actually come out to the facilities?
That's a real good question. What I'm really excited about is our new virtual classes. We have a synchrony training style training where you're online with the instructor in real time in the class. If it's the accessible classes, you're in a class with no more than 5 people and no less than just yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, experience. Well, you come to IC Music. What happens is, and I'm going to speak about the first model. I kind of break these two down because these are two different trainings, just two different delivery methods is what it is. At the end of the day, still audio production training
Mm-hmm.
uh, as it pertains to adaptive tech, but um, in two different delivery formats. The first one is what we call the MPEP program, which is Music Production and Engineering Program, which is the first one. That's what you spoke of right here. And what that is our hand over hand model. Um, and that is 2 months of intensive on site training in the hand over hand format. Um, And so basically, the individual expresses interest. They go generally through VR because the tuition is pretty intense. So they'll go through VR as a sponsor. Um, VR will put together an self-employment package, and shoot them out to us. And so what happens from there is um, they learn the equipment. I write recommendations based on their goals. Like I said, educational or vocational goals. Excuse me. And and so So I write the recommendation. We order the equipment from one of our sponsors, which is Sweetwater. Um, and equipment gets delivered here. We bust the boxes open. They learn on it. They're in the recording space, and that's for 7 to 8 weeks, okay, depending on the goal. Then what happens is throughout this training, this is hands on, hands on, hands on. We first start with, uh, with the screen reader, and then we move into the OS, and then we move into the hardware. Then we move into the software, and then we move into studio applications. And so these modules are set up strategically to create a comprehensive experience for the learner. Um, so they stay here in a hotel. We cart them back and forth. Classes are like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So with the 1 hour lunch and two 15-minute breaks. Um, and it's pretty rural where we are, where we're
Mm-hmm.
located. So not a whole lot going on. It's just a lot of focus. But once again, it is consuming. So people individuals who have kids and husbands and wives and that kind of thing. Uh, a lot of times, they opt not to choose this particular method, which leads me to the second method.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, well, let me a little bit about the first method. That first method, like I said, that I just want to talk about the tuition on it. And like I said, it's pretty intense. Um, 7 to 8 weeks is equates to 224 to 256 instructional hours. Okay, and that's $100 an hour. So you could do the math there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so at $25,000, not a lot of people have that just like laying around. However, the experience is probably worth $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
Um, these are world class trainers. Our trainers are blind. Okay, and whatever module that you're learning and whoever you're learning from, that trainer does that for a living.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Kevin Reeves is one of our trainers. He's what we call the Pro Tools navigation trainer, and an amazing user. But not only user, this guy makes a living within Pro Tools. I mean, he uses multiple DAWs, but that's his main one.
Got you.
So you're getting it from the horse's mouth. Um, and like I said before about let me get back to the virtual format. So what we call virtual classes. This is a class that we train on Zoom on the Zoom platform, which is highly accessible,
Mm-hmm.
great customer service, very user friendly. We haven't had too many technical issues as far as a person who's new and a blind user jumping into it and running with it. It's been pretty painless. I must say, knock on wood. But so these classes are um, there's a lot of advantages to these classes. Number one, you can take it from wherever you are. If you're in Texas, we're in Chicago. If we just trained a guy in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Italy, Trinidad, it's all over the place. As a matter of fact, our trainers, we got a trainer in Europe over in Italy, um, and we have one in Trinidad, Jason Dessett, um, which I'll be talking about. He's actually going to be here in Illinois tomorrow, which is the 18th.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, um, and so these classes are generally 2 hours a day, and usually two days to 3 days a week. Pretty flexible on the schedule. All of the tuition and all that kind of stuff is handled on the site, on our site, which is www.icmusic.org. Um, and you're talking about the difference between uh, a $25,000 excursion, as opposed to now the classes are clearly under $1,000. And so it just makes sense. People that can pay out of pocket, and VR, doesn't take any too much special provisions to to get
Get it approved.
training approved and stuff like that. Yeah, sure.
Got you, got you.
Um, so yeah,
Okay. And so just a quick sidebar, you mentioned Sweetwater, and I must say, man, I've been working with Sweetwater, I know, for 5 years, and what an exceptional company from the owner on down. And it's not a small company. Sweetwater is huge. I'm talking about with a campus and all types of just everything in this particular area of Indiana. And
sure.
Tamir Denton is my dude. So shouts out to Tamir. His wife actually seen a video that I did about him and showed it to him. And it was just kind of crazy the way this whole internet thing works because I didn't know his wife. I just knew him. I didn't tag him or anything. She just found me and showed it to him, and he called me and said, "Hey man, thank you for that." But great relationship. Who do you deal with mostly over at Sweetwater, and what's your experience with them?
Call him Mr. Jeffrey Green. He's the yeah, he's the man. I'm gonna tell you something about Sweetwater, and not just Jeff. This is not an isolated
DNA, man,
situation.
it's the DNA.
I mean, yeah, an organization's culture and social environment it has to come from the owner. You know, Mr. Surak is man is just amazing. Just I mean, Sweetwater has sponsored us for this July 19th event we got coming here at Navy Pier with Access Chicago, and just hands down, customer service, incredible. I mean, all of our learners, that's where we get the equipment from.
Hmm.
Uh, and VR just, they deal with VR. They're in every state. They're a vendor there in every state, so it's an ease. Have never heard any complaints, and I'm telling you, we have learners that will call them. I would think about 40 or 50 times a day. And these salesmen and women are just like, yeah, no problem, no problem. The tech, the tech support, yeah, they do a wonderful, wonderful job. So that's why we continue to use them. And um, as this program grows, um, you know, I, I can't do anything but continue to use them because they're robust enough for us to do so. To be able to handle orders. I mean, just a magnificent, like you said, the campus. We have in our sixth module, we usually take a field trip because we're 3 hours west
Hmm.
of and I mean probably directly due west of Sweetwater, and and what's interesting about that is that uh, we'll take a trip out there, and it's like an adult playground.
Yep.
And forget the part about the music, and the audio gear and all that stuff. It's like got a salon there, a
Bowling
masseuse.
alley.
You know what I mean? It's video games and the restaurant. Oh
Rats.
my God, oh, it's deep. So it's amazing.
Sweetwater,
So
man.
yeah, we really appreciate them. Yeah.
Right. I had three issues, and then we're gonna get to the purpose of you being here today. Not only just to empower people, but you got something very special going on. But I had a pair of $700 in ear monitors that when I got, I could only hear out the left ear, and they said to me, "We'll overnight you a pair, and then you just send those back." Whenever you get ready within 45 days, plenty enough time to send it back. Lost the piece to a uh, lavalier microphone. They negotiated
Mm,
everything for me to get the battery casing. I mean, just this simple little thin piece of thing that covers the battery. Negotiated
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Had problems with installation with a control surface. They got on the phone with Behringer, me on the line, and walked me as a completely blind person through the installation, made sure that it was working, even followed up 3 days later to say, hey, is it still working? You have any questions? Let me show you this that
Yeah,
might be
I'm not
helpful.
surprised. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Crazy. You know what I mean? Over and beyond. Reminds me of you, and I can understand why you deal with them because they take it to a whole nother level. But check it out. You are doing something super, super special coming up this week. Tell us all about it and what you want the consumers to get out of it, what you're looking forward to, who are the sponsors, how did it all come about? Just talk. I'm gonna sit back literally and listen. Tell me everything about this.
Yeah. So July 19th, which is this coming Thursday, we're going to be at Navy Pier, which is at 600 East Grand, and that's in Chicago, downtown Chicago. Very expensive to park downtown Chicago,
Right.
and so the event is free though. So there you have it. Um, and we're doing Access Chicago is hosted by the mayor's office for people with disabilities. And this is an expo that they put on biannually. This is our second year. We participated back in 2016, and uh, and so what? This is products, services, um, uh, technology. Um, Hundreds of vendors are there, and we just so happen to showcase four of our trainings live, and very, 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 very excited to have Mr. Jason Dessett and his wife Sarah Dessett. They're coming in, and they're going to. It's going to be an amazing presentation. Jason is going to demonstrate machine with complete control. Um, and he has his company has created macros in partnership with us, which are scripts that takes a totally inaccessible apparatus and makes it accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and moving through that device in that software faster than a sighted individual. Um, then the second episode. So these are going to be in chunks of in an hour long chunks. Okay, so we call them episodes. Um, Next, he's going to be doing film scoring. He's going to use the Avid software. It's called Pro Tools, and he's going to score film. Now, I'm going to speak a little bit about Avid in the moment. Uh, that's very, very, very near and dear to our hearts. Um, Avid is again a gold standard when it comes to accessibility, when it comes to listening to the consumer, when it comes to innovation. Mr. Ed Gray, uh, he, you know, I can't even tell you how instrumental this gentleman is and was and will be for any type of, at any level of diversity and inclusion with the Pro Tools software. I call him up. He says, "Yeah, Byron, no problem. Let's do it." Avid has committed themselves to excellence, and believe me, Pro Tools is probably, undoubtedly, hands down, the most accessible DAW available um, for blind individuals. Um, they uh, I spoke at a panel back in January, and they invited me out at NAM to speak. And so they had a whole section, a whole seminar just blocked off for their accessibility and their goals and what they were striving to do with that particular area of their organization. So, uh, very much kudos to them, um, and we're very proud to be a part of that family. Um, the third episode is going to be once again Pro Tools, um, but this is going to be a recording session, and the guinea pig that we're using, her name is Nola Ade, an amazing vocalist from Nigeria, and so it's going to be her and Jason. So Jason's going to be working all day. We're not going to give him any paper towels for the sweat, none of that.
Nothing.
Work, work. And so he's going to record her right there and show you how quickly or how quick a blind person can control and handle a recording session. And then the fourth episode is going to be a pre-production session in Logic Pro. All of these things, once again, Jason is totally blind. He is the creator and owner of Discover Me in Trinidad, uh, Tobago. It's like an American Idol type
Okay.
situation that has picked up an amazing amount of steam. So every major anything, any major entity out there has that supporting the Discover Me brand. An amazing thing. I hope to be out there in October to see the corporate show. So yeah, s- just in a gist, that's kind of what's happening. Um, I want to go. I want to say a little bit about Pro Tools.
Okay.
Um, and Flow Tools and this whole thing. This may or may not be the area to say that in. If it's not, then
No, go
skip
ahead.
past.
It's open.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Um, and I said earlier, it being so accessible, so accessible. There are a few guys responsible for that. With that partnership with Avid, Slough, Hallaton, and Chi Kim, and these gentlemen who also come along with a little bit further. Um, I'm not going to say it betters, it enriches the accessibility of Pro Tools, and it's a platform called uh, Flow Tools. Okay, and basically what it does is it gives a blind person a pair of eyes into into the uh, into the DAW. If you want to see, just for example, if you want to see where you at on a timeline, it's just at a keystroke. If you want to see how many tracks are soloed, simple things like that. Um, Things that sighted individuals uh, just can do innately. Just look at the display and say, "Oh, okay, yeah, we got 3 tracks solo, we got 7 tracks shown." These are things that blind people used to have to, even though they were accessible,
Mm-hmm.
used to have to navigate to that. And so you how that how many times you do that in one 3 hour or 5 hour mix. You take a 5 hour mix that turns that mix into an 8 hour mix. So now this creates a competitive environment for individuals, for folks who are not sure that Pro Tools is a thing for them. I employ them to check out Pro Tools first. It's free. It's comprehensive. It comes, I think, with 12 plugins. Um, I think what I'm gonna do one day is I think I'm just gonna just do a record with Pro Tools first, and just prove to the world. I'm gonna just put it out.
Mm-hmm. Now, you saying
And
that Pro Tools is free or Flow Tools is free or both?
Pro Tools first is free,
Okay.
and so it's kind of a stripped down version of the LE model. I mean, of the LE version.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, that's totally free. And if you decide to want to get into it, you can do a $99 a year type scenario subscription, or you can, if you're going to go to a whole nother kind of level, you have the HD options too that are available to you. So I just wanted to get that plug in for that because I think individuals need to know options,
Right.
and options are super important, especially in the blind community, as
Absolutely.
well as the sighted community. I'm not excluding them. I mean, this whole MPEP and virtual class program. Well, more so of the virtual classes. We're also training sighted individuals too now, so we've jumped into that market as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. Well, you guys can join him and the gang on Thursday. Now, is this a 1 day event? Is it over the weekend? How long is the event?
Yeah, it's just Thursday. So what we're going to end up doing, and we're filming this, we're capturing it, and we're going to push this at a later date to the globe. So yeah, and we're going to push it in 4 different episodes. Jason, myself, we may even have we can invite, Avid in Sweetwater at some point in time, on. Um, and so yeah, and it uh, we're gonna broadcast it. We're gonna make sure people see it. It's gonna be beautiful, the whole nine. You know how it goes.
Right. Right.
So, yeah. So it's just a 1 day event. It's from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And yeah.
Jam packed, jam packed. So speaking of jamming, man, the man who introduced me to this whole thing, I knew nothing about audio. I seen the microphones at church. Went to Beecher, Illinois, no S, and seen the studio, and it lit a fire up under me. So you guys hear me talk about various microphones that I test, and gates, and compression, and EQ, and limiters, and maximizers, and all that stuff. I get it from this gentleman right here. Byron, it's been a great interview. Tell the people how they can reach you for anything I see music or personally related, blind empowerment, conversation, whatever.
Absolutely. We're at, any social media outlet, except for like a Snapchat or something like that. But it's all IC Music LLC. Um, and that's ISEEMUSIC LLC. So that's Facebook, that's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's, LinkedIn, the whole nine. As well, our website is www.icmusic.org. That's www.iseemusic.org. Um, and that would be the best way. All the contact and company information is there. Our courses are listed there. You can see a play-by-play of the sessions in which you'll be learning, if you so choose to um, indulge, and partake. Um, and then also, other stuff that we do as a company, equipment rental, we do small rentals and stuff like that. Nonetheless, uh, all available right there on the website.
Sound like a plan. So for the empowerment moment, I say to you guys, if it's something that you want to do, find someone that's doing it at the level that you want to do it in and beyond, and mimic them at least, and at best, see if they would become your mentor. And guess what? You can do it too. This is Vashawn Jones signing off. You guys have a great one.